The dollar's tanking, tariffs are spiking prices, and big tech's making huge moves. From Apple juicing up Siri with AI, and Oracle's $30 billion cloud domination, and Microsoft's AI outsmarting doctors. Plus, Tesla sales are crashing in Sweden. And we got some sales coming out Wednesday. What does that mean for the stock overall? This market is wild. First off, before we get into any news, I just want to talk about the dollar. It is dropping an insane amount. We're at that 96.3 level. And if we zoom out and get to like a daily time frame, we haven't really been here in a while, but we did tank all the way down to that 88, back in 2021. So keep that in mind. This can be a little bit of a support. But markets did indeed close at all-time highs yesterday, which was insane. First time that the SPX or the S&P 500 hit this level like ever. So keep that in mind overall. But for the SPY overall, we did have a little tiny bit of a sell-off even for the pre-market area. Some key stocks like Nvidia selling off a little bit. We're losing some gains from like the last 3 days. Apple got into AI. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later, but I wanted to show the chart for it because we finally made a breakout. I told you guys, watch for a breakout above at 203.5 and then a break below that 200, but we broke above now. So honestly, if we can hold this 205, Apple will be looking great, but it's not really a deal set in stone yet. So we could quickly sell off because of this. So keep that in mind overall. But investors might be hype about them actually enhancing their AI finally, not being behind no more. And they actually got sued from shareholders because they were so behind in AI. So this can look good overall for Apple. Palantir had a quick sell off and then just been holding around that 136 level. We did come back from that 130 level. So if you got a call option last minute, you would have benefited a decent amount. One thing that did catch my eye though, Tesla. Tesla sold off a big amount. We did see some EV sales fall like 60%. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later more when we get into news and stuff like that. But I just wanted to show you guys this early. But before we get to the next one, man, I got a little ad for y'all, man. Want to trade smarter and grow your portfolio like a pro? From catching Apple's rebound to banking thousands on ATAI, my website, nextgenwealthtips.com, has everything you need to win in the stock market. And right now, we have killer deals going out for my ebooks. Learning is key and investing in yourself is the best thing you can do. So check these out if you guys want. But let's talk about some data to watch. So yesterday we had the PMI and it came out at 40.4, below expectations, meaning that it was bad. But today, Tuesday, July 1st, 2025, we have Fed Jerome coming out with a speech. So keep that in mind. That's going to be right at market open. So it can maybe move the market. You could say something about future Fed rate cuts. Trump has been bashing them. Trump actually came out with this note and showing the cuts of other countries, like cutting their rates and showing that we're not cutting our rates. This is actually the biggest time where other countries cut rates before the US cut rates. President Donald Trump wants to be at around that 1% range, tweeting or putting on True Social that he wants 1% at least. So keep whatever Fed Jerome says on your radar because that can really move the market. This is going to be big. But we have some more PMI, some construction spending, job openings, ISM, and auto sales. So keep all of this on your radar today. But the biggest thing is going to be on Thursday, initial jobless claims, U.S. employment. We have hourly wages, U.S. trade deficit. We have the final PMI, factory orders, ISM services, and then just a little speech. But this data can really move the market. But keep in mind that Thursday is kind of a half day for the market, and Friday it is July 4th. Hopefully you guys have a great holiday and markets are closed. But a data weave analyst of 1,407 China-made products on Amazon in the US showed median prices jumped 2.6% from January mid-June 2025, compared to at least 1% increase in the US core goods CPI during that period. Biggest price hikes were in school and office supplies, electronics like printers and shredders, home goods, cookware and furnishers, particularly noticeable in May and June. Among tracked items, 475 saw price increases, 633 remained steady, and 299 dropped. Analysts point to US tariff, 10% general, up to 50% on steel aluminum, 25% on auto parts as a growing factor cost into the retail chain. So we are seeing price hikes with the tariffs overall. Retailers like Walmart and Macy's have already said they're raising prices due to tariffs. Amazon claims overall prices haven't significantly shifted outside normal patterns yet. So we are seeing a little bit of price hikes with tariffs. So keep that in mind because honestly, we should get hopefully what I'm hoping, which isn't really a good thing, but it could stabilize markets and markets can really price it in. What the official tariffs would be when the July 4th to the July 9th deadline hits. Maybe we can get some deals. Maybe we can get some stable tariffs. But honestly, I'm personally waiting on deals just so market can stabilize. It'll be good to be at least at 10%, but you might see other countries, biting the bullet, facing higher tariffs, making prices officially go up when things are official. But we might be able to see, a Fed cut or something like that. But data and stuff like that still has to come out, So for trade, it's boats. So boats take a couple months to actually get the docs and actually get the official numbers as well. But we've seen Oracle. Oracle just announced a huge cloud contract worth over $30 billion annually by 2028, which has sent the stock up around 5% yesterday. This deal is a part of several new cloud agreements Oracle signed, showing major momentum in their cloud and AI infrastructure. Their multi cloud revenue is growing over 100% year over year, which is insane. Analysts are now super bullish on it, with Stifel upgrading Oracle to a buy and raising the price target to $250. Oracle is building dozens of new data centers and aiming to compete directly with AWS, which is Amazon, and Azure, especially in AI and hybrid cloud spaces. It's a major sign that Oracle is becoming a real heavyweight in cloud computing. So we do see Tesla sales drop 60% in Sweden. Also, Trump is now taking aim at Musk, and Musk is still taking aim at Trump over the big, beautiful bill. But keep in mind, on Wednesday, we have Tesla reports its Q2 deliveries on Wednesday, estimate to be 390,000. But, honestly, seeing all this data come out early, we might see a little bit of a disappoint. So keep that in mind for Tesla overall. We did see a big sell off, like I showed you guys earlier. So honestly, we might have a bigger sell off for Tesla, but it could be a good time to get in right now for your long term. But just wait for the numbers to come out. So for Microsoft, they unrevealed that their AI is going to be 4 times better than human doctors. So their AI medical tool. So honestly, keep this on your radar for Microsoft overall. Because honestly, what they're really trying to do, they're getting data, stuff like that. It's going to work side by side with doctors, but it's going to help them be better in the field, better diagnostics, and stuff like that. And honestly, just better medical overall. But 4 times better than humans already is honestly insane. So before we get into AI news, we do have Apple set to launch a budget MacBook next year, powered by the A18 Pro chip from the iPhone 16 Pro. It'll be around 13-inch with color options, including silver, blue, pink, and yellow. Honestly, kind of pumped for this because, having a budget MacBook ain't too bad. I personally use MacBook, and this could be good for the Apple stock because MacBooks, minimum, I think they're like 1,500 to 2,000, which is honestly insane. But if they make a budget MacBook lower than $1,000, I think more people can get their reach into a MacBook. I know a lot of people that want MacBooks, but it's too expensive. And honestly, this can bring Apple's reach up even more. Apple is announcing a lot of good news back to back. So keep this in mind overall. But I made a video literally yesterday announcing more about Apple's AI, but they're basically having like a 16 to 18 billion dollar deal to enhance their AI. The thing about this is that they do have a deal with Google to have like Google as their default search engine. They get paid $20 billion a year for this. So this can potentially bring Google stock down because people with iPhones aren't really going to be using Google as much, and you might see some numbers go down. So keep Google on your radar to the downside. We did have a big sell-off yesterday, and we might continue fill some gaps back down to like that 173.5 level. So keep this in mind overall for Google. But with all that being said, man, some price action to watch. Before we get into it, though, I just want to say July is one of those months out of the year that is always green, has been green for the last 10 years, but data can always change. It could be the first red month as well. But, everything's still looking pretty good, just depending on how the trade goes. The trade can really affect how July looks. So keep that in mind overall, but we are getting it pretty early in July. So we might get a little bit of a pullback and then another rally. You never know. You never know. But with that being said, for the SPY overall, to the downside, look at 615, 614, and that's 613.5, 612.5, and that 610 level. Down past that 610, look at 605 to that 600 level. But if we start going back up to the upside, look at that 618, 619, 619.5, since it's, close to the highs. And then past that, look at 620. 620 is going to be a key level, 625 and 630 for the SPY overall. Take your time trading. Honestly, I think because it is a holiday weekend, not really too many people are trading. People are probably taking the week off. So it's probably going to be a slow week. But, next week is going to be back into action. We're probably going to be getting some bigger price movements then. So keep that in mind overall. A lot of people aren't trading. I know a lot of people are just taking off. So honestly, we might not see too much volume, but we are trading a decent amount based on news. Jerome comes out and we have a lot of data on Thursday. So you might see some price swings within the next couple of days. Next stock to look at is Nvidia. So to the downside, if we do start falling even more, look at that 156.5, 156, 155.5, 155, and that 150 level to the downside. To the upside, though, if we start going back up to the upside, look at 157.5, 158, 159. And if we break above that 159, we might be able to see that 160 level. And past that, look at 165 to that 170 level. So for Apple, man, that one key level that I said to watch is that 205. If we break below that 205, look at 203.5, 201.5, and that 200 is going to be key. Below that 200, look at 198.5 and that 195 level. To the upside, if we do start itching upwards, especially when market opens, we might get a lot of volume then. Look at that 207, 209, 210, and that 215 level. You never know. People might be hype about this new AI trend, and people might start buying in at market open, getting their option plays and stuff like that. Yesterday, we had a big option chain, especially when that news came out. I mean, of course, we had a lot of volume to the upside, so people were trading Apple a lot. We might see the same thing tomorrow or after that market open. Sorry. Next is going to be Palantir, man. If we can make a break above that 140 level, we could be looking a little bit more bullish. After that 140, look at 141.5, 143.5, 145, and that 150 level. To the downside, if we do start selling off a little bit more, look at 135, 133.5, and that 130 level to the downside for Palantir. Tesla, we have a big sell-off, and we might be able to continue this sell-off a little bit more. So do watch that 300 level. If you break below that 300, look at 295, 290, and that 285 to that 280 level. To the upside, if we do start filling some gaps to the upside, look at 305, 310, 315, and that 320 level is going to be key. If we can break above that, look at 330 next. But honestly, Tesla's not looking too good. And we got the numbers coming out on Wednesday, so you might see a sell off even more. We might get back down to like that 250 level. I'm personally going to be loading up for my long term if we do fall down, but I'm going to wait until I see a little bit of a bottom and then boom, get a little call option as well. So we are seeing a little bit of sell action in Bitcoin. I've been seeing it hit the wire a little bit. People are saying, we're finally going to make a breakout, finally going to hit new all-time highs. No, don't believe any of that. But with that being said, we can always rebound back up to that 108. So please have your patience. Just see how it opens up, market opens, see how it's moving, see the momentum. If we start selling off, you can make a decent amount of money off the sell and or the rally to the upside. Some stocks to watch with that is MSTR and moves exactly with Bitcoin. And we also have Coinbase as well that you can do some call options based on how Bitcoin looks. But one that I personally trade is IBIT because you can get cheap options. And honestly, it's an ETF that moves with Bitcoin. So if you want to get into the Bitcoin trend, but don't want to risk, $100,000, I'm personally trading 2 to 3 weeks out, and it's only $200 for in the money plays. So IBIT is a way to go. With all that being said, man, my tips for this week is just have your patience, have your eyes on all of the data that comes out, Jerome's speech, any of the new trading news that comes out, and anything like that. Comment down below if you guys are trading, what tickers you guys are looking at, and how you guys feel about Apple stock overall. Thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. Let's get to 500 subs, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.